This is The Culture.
Hello and welcome back to the Culture Wave Media Network. Thank you so much for checking out our channel. Be sure to like, subscribe, and share with your friends. You can follow us on Instagram, TikTok, and now on Threads at Cinema Wave Media, as well as at _Culture Wave Media on Instagram. I am one of your co-hosts for this episode, Darian Scalamoni. I am joined by Liz Seiko. And I am also joined by our producer for this episode, Zach Miller.
Yo, what's up?
And we have a lot to talk about, a lot of important things in this episode, starting with the Emmy nominations that dropped this week, as well as the impending actor strike and the ongoing writer strike that's happening right now in Hollywood. But let's start with the Emmy nominations. It's a very important
Exciting
time for
stuff
us.
Over here.
TV's been really popular for a while with the increase in spending and streaming. There's so much television coming out literally every single day.
Yeah.
So we're just going to start with the obvious nominations. The big awards, so to speak. So we'll start with Outstanding Drama Series. We have Andor, which is on Disney Plus. Excuse me. Better Call Saul on AMC. The Crown on Netflix. House of the Dragon on HBO Max. The Last of Us, which is also on HBO Max. Succession, also HBO Max. The White Lotus, also HBO Max. And Yellow Jackets for Showtime. So I have seen...
Interesting that they have it as HBO Max and not just
Max. Or just HBO,
right?
right? This is we're getting our information from Deadline, so thank you, Deadline. But I've seen, I've seen 1, 2, 3.
I was gonna say how
4.
many?
I've seen 5 of these shows.
You've seen 5, like full shows, or
Yes.
just okay?
Yeah, in terms of like I'm caught up. There are
I've
some
seen-
shows on here that I've seen certain episodes, but I'm not all caught up.
I've only seen 4.
Okay, Zach. Out of those, you want me to go over them again?
I've seen everything except Yellow Jackets.
Whoa.
Whoa!
Big guy on campus here. Everybody watch out. All right, so I think this was what we expected.
I agree. Do you guys have any that like right off the bat you're kind of like, ooh, why was that nominated, or something that should have been nominated?
No, I think drama actually more so than comedy has like a very distinct 8.
Yeah.
Like I think these are the ones everyone was expecting, and or people were kind of on the fence about if a Star Wars show would actually get nominated for best drama series. But I don't know. I love Andor. I think it's a great show. It was one of my favorite shows of last year. My pick at this point would be Succession.
Mm-hmm.
We have a very long conversation for our first episode, so check it out on the channel.
We're huge Succession fans.
Big Succession fans and big Succession stans.
Ooh.
But that would probably be my pick. I love the second season of White Lotus. But I think Succession takes it to another level. Last of Us has a chance, but we'll see.
I didn't love The Last of Us as much as I think everybody else did, to be honest.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Wow, your voice has never gotten that high before ever.
Because I feel like everybody loved The Last of Us, and I was just kind of like, what's happening?
Okay, so which parts of it? We can't get into an extended Last of Us conversation now, or we'll go down a rabbit hole. But so, all right. So, what would be your pick? Your pick would be Succession as well.
100%.
All right, Zach, what are your thoughts?
I would go. I think Succession, or I just switched my camera. I would go Succession or Last of Us for its production value and the different stories that it had in it. But
okay,
I think Succession overall was the best show.
I think there's 2 other ones we haven't mentioned yet that are interesting, dark horse potential. So I'm not caught up. Better Call Saul, though, is the last season. It's never won an Emmy.
Better Call Saul. Like, I really want Better Call Saul, but it has been robbed.
It has never won
year.
a single Emmy award, which is absolutely crazy based on what I hear about the show. I heard it's
I've heard
phenomenal.
great things. I've only ever watched the first episode.
Yeah, I'm like 5 episodes in.
The last season, oh my gosh. Like, it
ties
great. Yeah, it ties Breaking Bad all in together. Like, and then
do you think it's a better last season than Succession's final season?
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah, I think so.
I don't think that's an unpopular opinion.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's why I think it has an outside chance because it's never won.
So you think that it could take it?
I think it could, but the other one we haven't talked about yet is House of the Dragon because it's been so long.
I
Since it was on.
think
You don't like it?
I did not like House of the Dragon.
Interesting.
No,
I can't wait for season 2.
I
really like House of
I
the Dragon.
I enjoyed it. I thought that it wasn't a super strong start though for such a big series, so I don't think it'll win.
Okay, fair point.
I think it was a lot of like laying the ground for like the next few seasons.
That's a fair point.
Which may like future seasons it'll probably win, but I don't think season 1.
Okay. All right, let's jump to comedy. A lot of interesting debate probably for this one because some of these shows I wouldn't even completely categorize as a comedy, but here
I
we
actually
go.
read something about that where it was like, what's going on with comedy, because like some of these aren't even.
I think there was an article on like Hollywood Reporter or something.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I saw that too.
You read the same one.
I think we did read the same article. So we have Abbott Elementary for ABC, Barry, which is wrapped up on HBO and HBO Max. The Bear, this is season 1 of The Bear on FX on Hulu. We have Jury Duty, which is the big sleeper for Amazon Freevee.
Mhm.
The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel's final season on Amazon Prime Video. Only Murders in the Building on Hulu. Ted Lasso on Apple TV Plus for its last season, as well as the debut of Wednesday on Netflix.
How many of these have you seen?
So again, I'm caught up. I'm 1, 2, 3. Only 3 I'm completely caught up on. I've seen most of them, but I
Okay.
haven't finished a lot of them.
I've seen 4 of them.
Okay, Zach.
I'm actually missing a lot from this one. I'm missing Only Murders.
Okay.
I'm missing Ted Lasso. I'm missing. What was it? What were some of them?
Wednesday.
Wednesday's on there. Marvelous Mrs. Maisel.
Wednesday. Yeah, I actually haven't seen.
Marvelous
I
Mrs.
haven't.
Maisel?
Yeah, I haven't caught up
Okay.
on. Or Wednesday. So
And then Abbott Elementary too.
I haven't seen
Okay.
that.
Oh, I
so
love
I'm
Abbott.
completely
Me
out
too.
of this
I
one.
did.
So this is the hard thing for me personally, because if it was up to me, it's only between 2 choices based on what I've seen.
Okay, so what? Yeah, what are your?
It would be
2?
Abbott or it would be The Bear.
Okay.
Now, the problem with this is that I don't think The Bear should even be in the comedy category because I think it's more dramatic, but it's a half-hour program. And I do think season 1 is probably more comedic than season 2.
Yeah, and this is season 1.
This is season 1. And The Bear was my second favorite show of last year, so I technically, I would have to give it to this.
Mm-hmm.
But Abbott is so great, and it's the best formulaic broadcast sitcom in years.
I
Like
also
for
think
me,
it is,
since
it
like
is
Parks
a
and Rec.
comedy.
It's
there's
a
like
pure
no
comedy.
question about
It's a
it.
pure comedy. It's great writing. All the performances are awesome, and we'll get to those in a little bit. But those would be my 2. I would have to give the edge to The Bear because I love that show so much.
Mhm.
Abbott won a bunch at the Golden Globes,
It's great writing.
so I could see it. We also have, I mean, again, like the Dark Horse Jury Duty, which I haven't had a chance to watch yet, but I know Zach has, which maybe we'll talk about a little bit. But that's a popular one right now, and a lot of people were surprised it even got a nomination.
Yeah.
We have the last season of Maisel. We have the last season of Ted Lasso, which has been very popular with the voters for a very long time.
Last season of Barry.
Last season of Barry, which I don't love.
I
don't.
didn't.
You didn't love
I
either.
didn't love it.
Zach, I forget what you
I didn't
thought.
really like them.
Okay, so so
Well, we all agree on that one.
all right, so
Sorry,
I wouldn't
Barry.
give it to Barry, but again, I think Barry won it for season 1 or season 2 at the Emmys. Whatever season 1, it had its time. I think Maisel's similar. Like
Yeah.
Rachel Brosnahan won her first season; she hasn't won since. So my pick would be The Bear.
You'd pick The Bear. Okay.
I would pick The Bear.
Zach, do you have any input or you?
My input would be The Bear because that's the only one I've seen. But yeah, that's pretty much. But it is a good show to be in that category. I think it has a good shot.
Yeah.
With its quality. So we'll see.
I'm actually gonna agree with you, and I'm gonna pick The Bear.
Okay.
Too. Because I do like Abbott, but I feel like The Bear for season 1, just everybody loved Heart right off the bat, and like I think it deserves it. So I'm gonna pick that one.
Okay. Zach, can you give us any sort of idea about Jury Duty for the people that haven't watched it? Because I feel like it's going to be in the news a lot. right
Oh,
now.
Jury Duty. Well, my girlfriend wanted me to watch it, so I did watch it.
Okay.
And I was pleasantly surprised. It's more of a reality TV show, which is why it stands alone.
It's like mockumentary kind of, right?
Yeah. It's like Borat style basically. It's
Interesting.
like
Interesting.
everything is scripted except this one guy has no idea, and he is basically put into this fake jury duty, but he thinks everything is like normal.
Mm-hmm.
And basically all these things keep going awry, like all the jurors like start talking about weird stuff, and then they go into all these crazy things that happen in the courtroom. They're like, the evidence is getting like slipped up, and he's like,
Oh boy.
is this supposed to happen? Like all this kind of stuff. But it's so different from the rest of the shows. I was very surprised that
So was
It was
it
part of this.
all scripted though, or did they have like earpieces in so the producers could like talk to them? Like, was it kind of like what was like Punked?
It's
Punkdish kind of, where they're like
yeah.
talking to the people.
Is it like Nathan Fielder stuff?
yes, yeah. It's like,
But there's scripted elements.
but
to it.
everyone is in on it except the guy
Got
that
it.
is there.
So
the
interesting.
juror.
And then
Yeah.
who's the one guy?
James
in-
Marsden.
Yeah.
James- yeah.
Randomly.
awesome.
Like,
For
Yeah.
all our fans, our Hairspray fans out there, that's Corny Collins.
Oh
Hairspray.
yeah,
I
His-
like
his
how
most
that's
famous
role.
That's the reference.
I was
That's-
gonna go
that's-
with
that's
Enchanted.
fine.
Dead
I was
to Me too?
Enchanted.
Oh, is he in Dead to Me? With
Yeah.
Christina Applegate?
Yeah.
I haven't watched it.
Oh.
I didn't know he was in it. Good for him.
Mhm.
Good for Corny Collins. Outstanding limited or anthology series. So this was another controversial one because there are two like major front runners and three that I felt like a lot of people thought were surprises. So we have Beef that was on Netflix, Dahmer, the Jeffrey Dahmer story on Netflix, Daisy Jones and the Six, which was a Prime Video original, Fleischman is in Trouble on FX, and Obi-Wan Kenobi on Disney Plus. I have seen two of these fully, a few episodes of Dahmer. I haven't watched Daisy Jones or Fleischman is in Trouble. I really want to watch Fleischman is in Trouble because I really love all the actors that are in it.
Can I be honest? I have never even heard of that.
Okay.
I
Jesse
haven't
Eisenberg. Jesse
I-
Eisenberg
No.
is in it. Lizzie Kaplan. I think Lizzie Kaplan's in it. Claire Danes is one of the leads.
So Beef is the only thing that you've seen fully through?
And Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Oh, okay. Right.
Obviously, I mean,
Obviously.
Beef is one of my favorite shows of the year, so it's by far my pick.
Okay.
Dahmer is the popular one, I feel, because it's one of the most viewed Netflix shows of all time. People were obsessed with it. So I've only seen a couple episodes of it. I don't love it. The only Ryan Murphy stuff I really do love is like the first season of American Crime Story. So
Yeah.
I'm not a huge Ryan Murphy fan. My pick would be Beef. I don't know. What do you guys think?
I've only seen Beef out of all of these. I saw the first episode of Dahmer and I turned it off because I was just like not into it and was kind of like, why are we making this? Which I know a lot of people were also like, why is this getting such
Traction.
Yeah, such attention right now. So I'm gonna go with Beef because it's the only thing that I can speak about.
Okay. Zach, have we seen any of these?
I've seen most of them. I think I haven't finished Beef. I've seen Obi-Wan. I've seen Dahmer, all of Dahmer. Dahmer. Voice crack.
Was Obi-Wan good?
Oh no.
No, Obi-Wan's not good.
No,
Which is
okay.
why.
So why is it nominated then? Just because they needed
Because
another...
Disney's got the money
in
in the pocket.
No, that's the thing that. So Mandalorian has been nominated for multiple
Yeah.
seasons. It is definitely a point of conversation right now that this show was nominated. If this would have got nominated and Andor didn't, it would have been a major problem. Because Andor is very
Yeah, I
prestige-y.
agree.
It's very well written. It's incredibly acted. Like it's acted very well. There are a lot of aspects of Kenobi that are good, but majority of it has a lot of issues. So I think that it could be that it's a weak field limited series this year. I mean, you have to think like in past years, like White Lotus was nominated because we thought it was a limited series, and then it didn't become that, right?
But technically, it's an anthology series, isn't it? White Lotus isn't anthology when each season's different.
I think it's because of the aspect that,
That the-
certain characters come back.
Oh, okay, got it.
I think that was what happened when they went through the changing of the
Unlimited
category.
is like just one season and
Yeah.
it's done, or like 8 episodes, 6 episodes.
But
and that's it.
anthology is like American Horror Story because each one is different.
Yep. So
But characters loop in that show.
the same characters go from season to season.
I think that
It could be the same actors. It can't be the same characters. I don't think.
I also haven't seen all the seasons, so
Okay.
I won't say that they're the same characters because I could be wrong.
So I think we're consensus on Beef,
Beef.
right?
I would go Beef.
Okay.
Yeah.
Liz, do you have you want to take some of these? I think we're
Sure.
on
So the
outstanding lead actress.
next one that we're going to is outstanding lead actress in a drama series. And starting off, we have Bad Sisters from Apple TV, who is Sharon Horgan as Ava Garvey. I have not seen Bad Sisters, so we'll keep going. Yellow Jackets from Showtime, who is Melanie Linsky as Shauna Sadecki. The Handmaid's Tale from Hulu, Elizabeth Moss as June Osborne. The Last of Us, HBO Max. Bella Ramsey as Ellie. The Diplomat on Netflix, who is Carrie Russell as Kate Weiler. And then Succession, HBO Max. Sarah Snook as Shiv Roy. What are we thinking?
I'm going to go Bella Ramsey just because I think the Emmys will like to make a statement that she's the youngest actress to be up for that role.
Interesting.
That's
How many of
interesting.
these
Yeah.
have you seen?
It's
It's Succession, The Diplomat, The Last of Us, Handmaid's Tale, Yellow Jacket, Bad Sisters.
so 2 of those, I think.
Oh, okay.
Last of Us in
Yeah.
Succession.
Yeah.
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 I would go. So I think it's a three
Three-way
person
tie.
race.
Mhm.
Yeah, between Melanie Linsky for Yellow Jackets because people seem to love her performance in it. Bella Ramsey, same as Zach said, and Sarah Snook in Succession because this is her first time running in lead.
Mhm.
So I think that's a very interesting play. It's the only time she's going to be able to do that, obviously. That's the back and forth I go with now between. I think Melanie Linsky is like the dark horse, but I think it's really between Bella Ramsey and Sarah Snook, and it's hard.
I've heard good things about Bad Sisters, though.
I've heard incredible things about Bad Sisters, but I don't know if her performance is completely. I mean, I don't know if it's really a show that's completely led by her. It's more of an ensemble. Like again,
Mhm.
Succession it's an ensemble.
Yeah.
So I think she'll have more chances, why I think it's hard because Last of Us we're only gonna get at the absolute most 3 seasons and Succession's over. So if
Mhm.
I had to pick right now, I'd probably go Sarah Snook. I do think Bella Ramsey has a chance. Special shout out to Kerry Russell in The Diplomat. I love her and I think she's great in the show. But that's probably Sarah Snook's probably my pick. What about you, Liz?
I'm gonna stick with my train of Succession and go with Sarah Snook.
Okay.
I just really didn't love The Last of Us, and so I don't want to give.
You didn't like her
my-
performance?
I just didn't really like the show that much.
Whoa, that's a future episode. It has to be. I feel like we have to have a conversation about The Last
This
of Us.
is
Meanwhile-
lead actress though, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think this biggest snub is Rhea Seehorn from Better Call Saul. I think
Is
she's
she in supporting though?
and is, I
Maybe.
mean, she
Let me
is-
look. Let me look.
No, she's not. No, I think I read that. Right? Well, okay.
I'm
Fact
looking,
check
I'm
me
looking.
first because I
I
don't have
will.
it in front of me.
No, she is. She's supporting.
She's in support.
She's in supporting.
Okay, all right.
But
I
a
can
lot
get
of people,
behind
I think a lot of people fought about that too and said that she's the lead. Like she's.
She's in less of the 6th season, so I guess they put her as I don't know.
Okay.
She's not like a main character. I don't know.
Okay.
However they define it.
So we have Bella Ramsey, 2 Sarah Snooks.
Mhm.
All right, Liz, give us outstanding lead actor in a drama,
Yes.
please.
So we have The Old Man on FX, Jeff Bridges as Dan Chase, Succession HBO Max, Brian Cox as Logan Roy, Succession HBO Max, Kieran Culkin as Roman Roy, Better Call Saul on AMC, Bob Odenkirk. Oh my god, I just had like a
Odenkirk.
Bob
stutter.
Odenkirk.
So I was like stuttering for a second. As Jimmy McGill and Saul Goodman.
Slippin' Jimmy.
And Gene Tovak.
Takovic? Is that how you say it?
Takovic?
Yeah, well, that's his alias, but
Okay, yeah, it's what it says it on here.
I guess I should watch this show.
AKA Slippin' Jimmy.
And then finally, or no, 2 more. The Last of Us HBO Max, Pedro Pascal as Joel, and Succession HBO Max, Jeremy Strong as Kendall Roy. How have you guys? Okay, so I think
We got a lot of Succession.
we have a lot of Succession going on.
Most of the shows we've watched.
I've seen all of them. I saw. I actually really like Jeff Bridges and The Old Man,
That's what I've heard.
but
I think this is the
of
toughest
all of those
category of
guys.
the night.
No, like he's great in that show, but
Mm.
you
compared
think
to
they
those,
just threw him like a nom, kind of?
I don't know. He was really good in it, and the show was really good. I just think that it's not going to compare to the rest of those guys, and everyone else delivered some of their best performances ever. So, I mean, my pick would be Bob Odenkirk, but I know he's going to get snubbed. I know he's going to. I mean, with those 3 guys, I know that he might not have as much going for him than Succession, but I mean, his arc, the way
Has
he
he
closed
won
it out.
before?
They've never won a single Emmy. The show.
Mm.
Yeah.
I think this is the hardest category of the night. I don't even
Yeah.
think it's close.
Why, you think that they're gonna like tip it to him?
I
kind
think
of?
that it could literally go to any one of them.
Really,
And
I think it's
I think it's too. I think between the fact that Bob Odenkirk has never won for Better Call Saul, yet he's been nominated every single season. So it's that similar thing where what show? Was it Mad Men that happened with John Hamm? I think he was nominated every single season and he finally won the
Maybe.
last season. So that's something the Emmys like to do. So I could see that happening. All 3 lead performances in Succession are fantastic, but Jeremy Strong's already won.
Mm-hmm.
Arguably, it's Kieran Culkin's best season.
Yeah.
And a lot of people, I think, are pulling for him. I'm not sure if Brian Cox has ever won. Not going to give spoilers on here if you haven't watched the show yet, but there's a specific reason why I don't think this is the season. If he hasn't been awarded, he shouldn't be awarded this time. Jeff Bridges, again, I've heard great things. He also was battling lymphoma while he was filming a lot of this. And then I think this is Pedro Pascal's best role as Joel that I've seen so far, and I think he's really, really great in the show. But I think he has a chance to get awarded down the road, maybe next season.
Yeah, like I feel like I don't think Pedro Pascal will win because I feel like this first season was just them like setting up the world, and they didn't actually give him a ton of like space to grow, to like go to different heights with the character. I felt like it was just very like, let's tell the story and like show the audience like where we're going with this. Yeah, I mean, I guess now that you guys told me a little bit about like Better Call Saul and that it's its last season and it's never won, I could see it going to him. But I feel like my pick would be Kieran Culkin.
Okay.
I'm gonna stay with Succession.
I'm gonna
I think it's gonna be a wipeout.
I'm gonna refuse to answer, and I'm gonna say it's between the two that you guys picked because those would be my two. It's really hard. I think we're gonna have to see where the trend of some of the commentary is going with Better Call Saul in general, because I think that again I believe in that whole I think it's John Hamm, but if the John Hamm effect, like give it to the guy in his last chance, because I mean I'm a huge Mad Men fan, and I've never heard anyone say that they don't like Better Call Saul, even the fact that I'm like I haven't gotten through it yet. It's not that I dislike it. So I would probably, it's hard.
I guess maybe I'll binge it before
the Emmys.
Before the Emmys.
Oh my God, there's like
Do you think I can?
6 seasons.
Do you think I can?
You probably could.
If I watch
I believe
nothing.
in you and Tyler. I believe in it. I definitely do. All right, you fact check
Plus
that.
they're long episodes, right? Aren't they like hour-long episodes?
Yeah.
So John Hamm, I'm just going into this rabbit hole. He's won 1 Emmy, and it was his last season of Mad Men.
I'm so proud of myself. I'm gonna I need to make this decision in like 2 weeks. I need a little bit of time.
Think about it a little
But
bit.
I'm gonna say it's between Odenkirk and Culkin. I would agree. I would definitely. I think Culkin. Culkin would be my pick between the 3 Succession lead actors.
Yeah,
that's what I was gonna say.
Although Jeremy Strong did give a great last season.
He's great, but he's great in every season, and he's already won.
Yeah, but they've done crazier things.
They have. Emmys are crazy. All right. I will go to the outstanding lead actress in a comedy series now. We're talking Christina Applegate, who's nominated for Dead to Me, which is on Netflix. Rachel Brosnahan in The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel, which is Prime Video. Quinta Brunson in Abbott Elementary on ABC. Natasha Lyonne as Charlie on Poker Face on Peacock. And then Jenna Ortega, who plays Wednesday Addams in Wednesday on Netflix. So as I revealed before, I've never seen Dead to Me, thanks to the Courtney Collins comment.
Yes.
But I've heard she's great in it. Brosnahan's already won for Maisel. Quinta Brunson is on a hot streak.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's between her and Jenna Ortega.
Mm-hmm.
And my pick would be Quinta Brunson for Abbott Elementary.
Okay.
So, Liz, what say you?
I've seen all of these except Marvelous Mrs. Maisel. Dead to Me, I love the first few seasons. I think the last season, just because Christina Applegate, obviously she's sick right now too, and so I think it was just a little bit more of like, let's kind of tip our hats to her and give her like a really nice like bow of an ending season. I don't think it was the best season, but it was nice. Jenna Ortega was really good though as Wednesday.
I think that if they give it to her, it's giving it to the pop culture aspect of it. I think she's very good in the role. I think I'm on the latter side of like, I think Wednesday is a very fun show, but I don't think it's
I
don't think it's prestige.
Yeah, but I think her embodiment of Wednesday was incredible character work.
Oh, I think she's worthy of a nomination, but
because
I think Rachel Brosnahan is better in Maisel, and I know you haven't seen it. I think she's great in Marvelous Mrs. Maisel. I really liked Poker Face. From what I had watched. I think I got halfway through it. I think she's great.
Yeah, I
Josh
think
Leone.
she's great. It was still kind of like the same character that she sometimes does, though.
Yeah.
Which is why I think she was great. Not like.
Have you watched that other show that she did on Netflix?
Which
Russian Doll.
Oh yeah.
You liked
I
it?
loved Russian
I've heard
Doll.
really good things about it, Zach. Russian Doll.
I have not seen Russian Doll.
I loved Russian Doll, but again, it's kind of like the same vibe.
Okay.
Like, it's just who her characters are, which is why, like, I think she did a strong performance. It wasn't a surprising performance, though. It wasn't like, oh wow, like where'd she come from, or like that wasn't expected. Versus like Jenna Ortega, it could have been horrible. Like it literally could
That's
have
a fair
been.
point.
It could have been trash, but I'm gonna put her as my nomination.
Okay.
I'm gonna pick her as it.
Okay, Zach.
If we're gonna, I haven't seen any of these shows, so I can really contribute to this. But if we're gonna follow the last season formula that we gave Bob Odenkirk, probably Rachel Brosnahan, maybe
For Maisel.
Yeah, but yeah, I can't really say for sure.
Okay.
All right, we're skipping Zach.
All right, we'll skip Zach for this category. Liz, do you want to do
sure.
lead actor?
Lead actor in a comedy series. We're starting with Barry, HBO Max. Bill Hader as Barry.
Bill Hader.
Haters. Shrinking. Apple TV. Jason Segel as Jimmy.
Jason Segel, Liz.
What did I just say?
Jason Segel.
You read these. I don't want to read them anymore. I don't want to read them.
Oh my goodness. Okay. Jason was Jimmy on Shrinking on Apple TV Plus.
I also said Jamie instead of Jimmy.
Oh no.
Maybe I'm
It's
having
okay.
like a moment.
Martin Short in Only Murders in the Building on Hulu. He plays Oliver Putnam. Jason
Putnam.
Is
I'm
it?
kidding,
Oh my
I'm
god.
kidding.
I'm so embarrassed. This is so bad.
I'm kidding right now.
Jason Sudeikis as the lead character Ted Lasso in Ted Lasso on Apple TV Plus, and then Jeremy Allen White as Carmi Brazato on The Bear for FX. I think this is The Bear. I don't really think it's a debate. He won the Golden Globe. Sudeikis, I think, already has 2 Emmys as Ted Lasso.
Mm-hmm.
Bill Hader, I think, also has 1. Maybe 1, but if he hasn't, I don't think this is necessarily the season he should win. And I think that people really appreciate Jason Segel in Shrinking, but I don't think that it's anything. Yeah, I don't think it's anything remarkable based on what I've seen from the show. So my pick would be Carmi.
Carmi.
So
I'm gonna
Zach,
go Carmi too.
you're gonna go Carmi too.
Carmi the Bear.
We all love the Bear here
Yeah.
at Culture Wave.
I mean, I'm gonna do The Bear too.
Okay.
Jeremy Allen White, because I've only seen Barry, and not my pick.
Okay. Fair point.
Not my pick at all.
Would you like to take another crack at outstanding lead actress in Living
No,
Your
not
Anthology
right
series?
now.
Okay, I'll go
not
for
right
it.
now.
So we have Lizzie Kaplan in Fleischman is in Trouble on FX. Jess Chastain in George and Tammy, which is on Showtime. Dominique Fishback in Swarm on Amazon Prime Video. Catherine Hahn in Tiny Beautiful Things on Hulu. Riley Keough, I think is how you say her name. I might have butchered that. And Daisy Jones and the Six on Prime Video. And then I believe we're missing a name here on Deadline, but I'm pretty sure it's Ali. Yeah, it is Ali Wong in Beef on Netflix. A lot of strong contenders here based on what I know of. I have only watched Beef.
Yeah,
I
me
want
too.
to watch all of these shows though.
I've only seen Beef.
I literally love Catherine Hahn so much. I think she's awesome in everything she does. Jess Chastain, I think, is one of the best, if not the best working actress today. But based on the little knowledge that I have of all these shows, I by default have to go with Ali Wong in Beef. But I can see them giving it to Jess Chastain. She's a movie star.
Yeah, I would. Yeah,
That's it. Yeah.
movie star.
Yeah.
I think Chastain always has a hand in the ring as like just getting any award because she hands in some of her best roles. I want to go with Beef too, just because I've only seen the first couple episodes, but Ali Wong.
Yes,
Right.
Mhm.
She's really good in the show, and
Yeah.
she's
She
mostly
is.
known as a stand-up. She's starting to get into more acting things.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So she would be my pick.
that's mine.
I'm picking Beef too.
Guys,
I told you guys we
Wow,
were going
get
to
on the
agree on one.
bandwagon.
Beef
I
in the-
did
beef
say
in the
this.
bear.
I said that we
The
would agree.
bandwagon of the beef.
This next category is another one where I haven't seen too many of the performances, but we're going to talk about outstanding lead actor in a limited or anthology series or movie.
I don't even think I've seen this group yet.
Okay, so we have Taron Egerton as James Keene in Blackbird on Apple TV Plus.
Oh.
It's a great show.
Oh.
It's a really, really great show. We'll get into it. Kumail Nanjiani as Soman Steve Banerjee in Welcome to Chippendales on Hulu. Evan Peters as Jeffrey Dahmer in the Jeffrey Dahmer story on Netflix. Daniel Radcliffe as Al Yankovic in Weird the Al Yankovic Story on the Roku channel. Michael Shannon as Jess Chastain's co-star George Jones and George and Tammy on Showtime. And then Stephen Yeun as Danny Cho in Beef. Blackbird is fantastic.
Is it?
I've been recommending it to literally every single person that watches television. It's so good.
I don't think you guys have recommended it to me.
Well, maybe
Go
that's
watch it,
because you're
Liz.
watching too much reality television, Liz.
I just want to give a shout out to Vanderpump Rules. You guys got 3 nominations for an Emmy.
That's all we need.
I'm here for it.
No, but it's great. I think he's very good in the show. He's there is another actor that we'll get to that I think is going to actually win for this show. So I think it's a worthy nomination. I have actually not heard great things about Welcome to Chippendales, so I'm kind of surprised that Kumail got a nomination.
I've actually heard nothing about this. Is this like Chippendales,
Like the club,
The club?
like yeah.
Okay. I feel
You were
like-
thinking like the Disney Chipmunks.
No, I really had no clue what I was thinking for a second, but with the line, it made me think like Chippendales, and so now I'm like,
Alvin and the Chipmunks.
I've heard the show sucks.
oh really?
No, I heard it's fine. Evan Peters as Dahmer is another one that like I feel like.
I think he's got a big shot.
Oh,
but I
hate
feel
that.
I don't know if I want him to win, but I feel like he's got a really good shot. And
He won
yeah, the Globe, right?
the Globe, yeah.
Yeah.
He did win the Globe.
He did win
So-
the Globe.
And it was controversial. So I think he's got a shot.
Stephen Yeun is awesome as Danny Cho. I would love to give an unbridled shout out to Daniel Radcliffe as Weird Al, even though I have never seen the movie, because just the fact that
Daniel
he got
Radcliffe.
nominated for playing Weird Al Yankovic
Yep.
is enough for me
And I
to say that I would
Daniel
love for him to
Radcliffe.
win the award. But my pick is Stephen Yeun in Beef.
Very dramatic. I mean.
Thank you.
I feel like I have to say Beef because the only other show that I watched was Dahmer.
Beef and the Bear.
But should I just throw it to Daniel Radcliffe just because I'm a huge Harry Potter fan?
I think that's fair.
Great.
I think he actually has won some. I think he won
I'm
something.
gonna throw it
The
there
Independent Spirit
first,
Award, I
and then
think he
maybe I'll go watch it, and then I can rebuke my vote if needed.
Okay, fair point. Zach, we have anything on this?
Didn't I pick something?
Taron
No,
Egerton.
I don't know if he would be the winner for the Blackbird. I agree with you. Like I think I'm gonna go Evan Peters just because I think Globe.
Mm.
That's a
Yeah.
fair
He
point.
might though.
He probably will win. I just don't
He
think
might.
Liz and I want him to win. I love Evan Peters.
I
He
do
was-
too.
he
I
was
really like
damn
him as an
good.
actor.
Yeah, I mean, like the show is very disturbing, but he was damn good in the
Yeah.
show.
You gotta
I guess I
reward
just
good
didn't get the
performances.
hype around it that so many people loved it.
Well, you only watched one episode, or not
Yeah,
even. I watched one.
Maybe I think I only watched one.
Yeah.
Full one.
Maybe we'll go back and binge it.
I won't because I have so many other things.
That's a fair point. So much Vanderpump Rules. We have outstanding supporting actor in a comedy: Anthony Carrigan as NoHo Hank in Barry, Phil Dunster as Jamie Tott in Ted Lasso on Apple TV Plus, Brett Goldstein as Roy Kent in Ted Lasso Apple TV Plus, James Marsden as himself
Wow.
in Jury Duty on Amazon Freevee, Eben Moss Backrack as Richard Richie Jaramovich in The Bear on FX, Tyler James Williams as Gregory Eddy in Abbott Elementary ABC, and Henry Winkler as Gene Cousineau in Barry on HBO and HBO Max.
I love this group, honestly.
This is a great.
This is a great group. I have a lot of people. Honestly, I'm kind of torn between NoHo Hank because I love that character so
Me too.
much, or Richie from The Bear. I don't know, but okay, if this is based on The Bear season 1, I don't know if I'd give him the nomination. I think season 2 of The Bear.
The award, you mean?
Yeah,
Yes.
the award. Season 2 of The Bear, I think absolutely, but I think I'm gonna give it to Barry. NoHo Hank.
This is
I love
has
his
my
character.
head in a pretzel because I love so many of these performances, and I don't think any of the ones you just mentioned are going to win.
You don't think either? Why? Which one do you think you're?
I
going
think
for?
Tyler James Williams is going to win for
Really?
Abbott Elementary. I do. He won the Golden Globe. And the reason I agree with you, I think Eben Moss Backrack is so good as Richie, but he has this very important highlight, which you see in season 2.
Which isn't there in season 1.
And so many of these, think about the category, right? All the Ted Lasso nominations and all the Barry nominations go away next year. I'm not saying that's how the voters look at it, but I'm saying that
Well, yeah, but that's why I think they're gonna give it
to NoHo Hank, which I think
do.
is a fair point. I think he's up there. Brett Goldstein is one for Roy Kent too, and he's so good in the show.
Okay, he actually no. I'm going back to NoHo Hank. Do you not remember that scene of him when his spoiler for this when his partner dies?
No,
and he's
I'm not
crying?
disagreeing with you that he's not great in
now
the
that
role.
I'm really thinking about this, he's totally gonna take it.
Okay. I say Tyler James Williams. I think
Okay.
he's my favorite character on Abbott Elementary. There's so many good characters on
There's
that show.
so many good.
But yeah, I think Richie's gonna win next year for the Bear, and I
Yeah.
think that Henry Winkler's already won. And I would I would hate to not reward NoHo Hank. I think there was past seasons where I wish they gave it to Anthony Carrigan instead of Henry Winkler because I think
Mhm.
Winkler's won a couple of times. But I'm gonna go Tyler James Williams.
Zach.
I'm gonna go NoHo Hank too.
Yes.
right.
Yes.
We'll see, guys. No, I think it's a great category though, and James Marsden as himself is like
That's a
what
great tip.
yeah,
He's
seriously.
not gonna win. I feel.
No,
like.
I don't think so either. But like that's so awesome. Like,
I know.
Good for him. That
Like
he
I
even...
bet he's laughing right now.
Yeah.
Like who would have thought?
Um,
Would've got me that.
Who would have thought this would have gotten me?
it's
an
so
Emmy?
awesome. I love it. Outstanding supporting actor in a drama series. We've been talking about this a lot today because every single person in the category is from one of 2 HBO shows, either
Mhm.
Succession or The White Lotus. So, F. Murray Abraham as Bert DeGrasso in The White Lotus. Nicholas Braun as Greg Hirsch in Succession on HBO. Michael Imperioli as Dominic DeGrasso on The White Lotus. Theo James as Cameron Sullivan on The White Lotus. Matthew McFadyen as Tom Wamsgams in Succession. Alan Ruck as Connor Roy on Succession. Will Sharp as Ethan Spiller on The White Lotus. And then we round out with Alexander Skarsgård as Lucas Matson in Succession. What a stacked category for literally having 2 shows.
It's all HBO.
Shows how great that these 2 ensembles are. I don't think I would give it to anyone from White Lotus. If I were to, I would probably give it to Theo James.
Mhm,
But
I agree with that.
I don't think he's gonna win. I think F. Murray Abraham actually won the Golden Globe because it was based on season 3 of Succession, or maybe they
Okay.
were out of season. I might be wrong on that, so don't fact check me. But the Succession category is so hard
I can't do
because
this.
Matthew McFadyen won last year for Tom Wamsgams, and he's
Mhm.
even better this season. Nicholas Braun is if he does not earn an Emmy for his role as cousin Greg, it would be a shame.
There will be war.
And Skarsgård's so good as
He's
Mattson.
so good. That's the problem. He comes in very hard hitting in the last season, which it's like, is he gonna take it? Even though he's not one of the staple original cast.
Yeah. And a shout out to Alan Ruck because this is his best season as Connor
His
Roy
best season, but I don't know if he'll get it.
too. I don't think he will.
Well, I want to hear. Actually, Zach, what do you think first?
Yeah, you give your first
I'm
prediction.
gonna go Matthew McFadyen. Mostly for the monologue with Shiv. With
on the roof.
yeah, when they're just talking about their marriage, and I mean, there's several scenes their marriage deteriorates in the season, and there are so many good seasons. I think Mattson is also so good, but Matthew McFadyen just has so much range, and I think cousin Greg is gonna get glazed over because he wasn't as much of a presence this season.
That's a fair
agree.
point.
So, and then who is the other?
For Succession?
Alan Ruck is gonna get glazed over too.
Yeah.
I mean
Yeah.
He's so
great.
good in this season
Everything
too.
he's in, every part he's in, he's great.
Yeah.
But he's compared to the other ones.
I know.
not-
It's hard.
Yeah.
Matthew McFadyen's my pick too.
By an inch.
Yeah.
I
By I would say him very slightly over Madsen,
Yeah.
honestly.
Yeah, just a little bit.
I don't know. I think I'm gonna go Madsen.
Okay.
I do.
I know that your heart wants you to say Cousin Greg.
Absolutely. Are you kidding me? If he won, it would be the greatest thing ever, but I don't think he will.
Okay.
I would though love if like Alan Ruck all of a sudden just like got the
I'd be so happy for
got
him
the
if
win.
he won.
I think he'd be surprised, which is like you kind of want that at these award shows now too. You don't want it to just be like, I knew it, and then them getting up. You kind of want the person to be like, no.
Yeah. So surprised by it.
I mean, if any of Succession wins in this, it'll be great.
Yeah. Outstanding supporting actor in a limited or anthology series. We're gonna try to run through these quickly. Murray Bartlett in Welcome to Chippendales on Hulu. Paul Walter Hauser in Blackbird on Apple TV Plus. Richard Jenkins as Lionel Dahmer in Dahmer on Netflix. Joseph Lee in Beef on Netflix. Ray Liotta in Blackbird on Apple TV Plus. One of his last performances before he sadly passed away. Young Mazzino in Beef on Netflix. Jesse Plemons in Love and Death on HBO. The thing I was alluding to before is Paul Walter Hauser has to win this award for Blackbird. He's so incredible in the show. The show doesn't get elevated to that next level, I don't think, if he's not in this role.
Okay.
So that would be my pick. I think he won the Golden Globe as well. But that would be my pick. I know people like Richard Jenkins a lot as Dahmer's father.
That's what I've heard too.
In Dahmer. But I think it's probably between the two of them, and then maybe again a posthumous award maybe for Ray Liotta. There's potential for that.
Probably.
Because of his stature and the history of how great of an actor he was. But I would probably go Paul Walter Hauser.
Oh, do you want me to go?
You can go.
Oh,
Okay.
I don't know if Liz has seen a lot of these.
Yeah, I really haven't seen a lot of these, like Beef, but I'm also only 3 episodes into Beef, so like I don't know if these are strong enough performances in the first 3 episodes for me to want to vote for them.
Okay.
I'm gonna go Paul Walter Hauser too. I think Richard Jenkins was really good in Dahmer, but yeah, I agree for the sake of him carrying the show. Paul Walter Hauser's carrying Blackbird by far. So
interesting. So Liz, we'll skip over you because you
Yeah,
haven't
just
seen
skip
enough,
over
right?
me. I don't have enough
Okay.
of an opinion.
So we'll go to Outstanding Supporting Actress in a Comedy Series. We have Alex Borstein in The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel, Ayo Edebiri as Sydney in The Bear on FX, Janelle James as Ava Coleman on Abbott Elementary on ABC, Cheryl Lee Ralph as Barbara Howard on Abbott Elementary and ABC, Juno Temple as Keely Jones in Ted Lasso Apple TV Plus, Hannah Waddingham as Rebecca Welton in Ted Lasso Apple TV Plus, and Jessica Williams as Gabby on Shrinking in Apple TV Plus. Go for Apple TV Plus getting so many
I
nominations.
know, right?
I really love that streamer. I'm gonna apply the exact same logic that I had for season. I think next year's Emmys The Bear rules.
I agree.
I think that Jeremy Allen White is gonna win. I
For
think it has a
season
chance for comedy series. But I don't think she's gonna win. My pick now, I think I want to just give a shout out to Hannah Waddingham. I'm not caught up on Ted Lasso, but she is so amazing on that show. And I hope she wins, even though I haven't seen her in the most recent season because I love her. But my pick is Cheryl Lee Ralph as Barbara Howard in Abbott Elementary.
She won last year, right?
I do think she won last year.
I'm pretty
Or she
sure.
did, she might have won the Golden Globe too. We get so confused with
I
these
know.
shows. But she might have won the Emmy last year as well.
I think
Ava Coleman is another one that, like, again, like Janelle James is so hilarious on the show. But I think that Cheryl Lee Ralph is like the heartbeat of what
Mhm.
that show is. Like Quinta Brunson is the brains and the amazing writing behind it and the face, but Barbara Howard is the heart of Abbott.
I
So
think she won last year, but
I think she can go back to back. You can say it.
Ava Coleman, though, for me, is just like the epitome of the comedy in that show where you're just like, what is happening with this character? So I'm going to give it to Janelle James.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So we're sticking on the Abbott train. Zach?
I haven't seen everything in this list, but I think similar to how Richie carries season 2 of The Bear, I think
Mhm.
Io really carries the season 1 of The Bear.
Interesting.
So
Mm.
like, just, I mean, Jeremy Allen White is awesome in season 1, but her integration into the restaurant and her stress level along with his, I think just those two alone could have been the best part of that show.
That's
in
interesting.
season 1.
I think the way they explored certain themes with her and the background and building her up in season 2, especially with her relationship with her father, is a reason I think the Bears gonna I shouldn't say sweep, but the Bears gonna win a lot next year.
I agree.
And they have a lot of time left, like a lot of shelf life on the show. I don't think the show's gonna run for like 10 seasons or anything. But I think that as great as season 1 is, I think season 2 is even stronger. And I think the field next year is a lot easier to crack. So that's why I have to push. I don't think she's gonna win this year.
I don't think yet.
But
No.
I think Richie has a better chance
For next.
for this season.
Oh, for this
but than
okay.
her. But I think Abbott is just such a hot thing right now
It's
too.
just so funny.
It is very funny.
It's so funny.
Outstanding supporting actress in a drama, Jennifer Coolidge, getting another nomination in The White Lotus for Tanya McCoy Hunt. Elizabeth Debicki as Princess Diana in The Crown on Netflix. Megan Fahey as Daphne Sullivan in The White Lotus. Sabrina Impacciatore, I wonder if I said that right, as Valentina in The White Lotus. Aubrey Plaza as Harper Spiller in The White Lotus. Rhea Seehorn as Kim Wexler in Better Call Saul on the AMC. J. Smith Cameron as Jerry in Succession on HBO. And Simona Tabasco as Lucia. I forget how you say it. In the White Lotus.
I'm pretty
Lucia.
sure.
Remind me that Lucia is the one of the two call girls.
Yes, I'm
But
pretty
which
sure.
one?
I think Valentina is the one
I'm gonna
who's
say.
the singer.
I think Valentina is the hotel manager, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, maybe you're right.
The brunette is
Aren't they all brunette?
Lucia.
I have to look.
No, the other call girl is blonde. She's the piano player.
So Valentina is the hotel manager.
Hotel manager. Okay.
And Simona Tabasco plays.
What a great last name.
Such a great last name.
Simona Tabasco.
Sorry guys. Lucia, yes. She is so good in the show.
Mhm.
This is such a hard category for me because I also think Megan Fahey is so understatedly good as Daphne. And then Aubrey Plaza is like the obvious one.
I know, but Jennifer Coolidge, guys.
But she won already.
I don't care.
But I know, I get it
I
because
don't care.
this is like her iconic moment and
Yeah.
her iconic character, so I get it. I'm going to say that Jennifer Coolidge is probably the front runner to win,
I love it.
but I really want Megan Fahey to win.
Okay.
And I want to, again, like, I'll let Zach talk about it, but I think Rhea Seehorn easily can win.
I think with this category, I think Rhea has a very solid shot. I think she would be a huge snub if she loses it to this. Look, I think everyone does great in The White Lotus, but oh my gosh, what she gives as Kim and Better Call Saul. Oh my gosh, it's just gut wrenching. So I would really hope that she wins the Oscar or the Emmy.
Fair point.
I would love. So Jerry from Succession is one of my favorite characters, but I think it should have been for a different season because I feel like the last season she's very on the back burner story wise. Like I think the season that the whole picture thing with her and Culkin's character, that season would have been a good nomination for her.
Yep.
But I think this is more just a like tipping the hat kind of and giving her a shout out. But I am gonna stick with Jennifer Coolidge.
Okay.
It's my girl.
It's your girl. I get it. I definitely get it. The last category we're going to go over is Outstanding Supporting Actress in a Limited or Anthology Series or Movie. Before we get into this category, though, I don't mean to speak for everybody, but I'm pretty sure most of us haven't seen a lot of these. So we'll just run through them really quick. But I don't know if we'll have the most expert opinion on this category in particular. Annalee Ashford in Welcome to Chippendales on Hulu. Maria Bello on Beef on Netflix. Claire Danes in Fleischman is in Trouble on FX. Juliette Lewis in Welcome to Chippendales on Hulu. Camila Maroney on Daisy Jones and the Six, which is on Prime Video. Niecy Nash-Betts on Dahmer. And Merritt Weaver in Tiny Beautiful Things on Hulu. My pick is Niecy Nash-Betts because she likes our stuff on Instagram, and we love you, Niecy Nash.
Shout
so
out.
I am rooting for you, girl. You're my pick. I haven't seen any of these shows besides Beef.
Yeah, I've
But
literally
Maria
only
Bello
seen
is
Beef.
good in the show. I don't think she's good enough to win.
I've only seen Beef, so I guess I'm just gonna give it to Beef.
Okay.
I'm going Niecy Nash too.
I love
And
that.
the Dahmer. Dahmer. The
She's
Dahmer.
great. From the one episode, I mean, she. I don't see enough of her in the first episode to like really.
Yeah. I don't know.
Niecy Nash, we're rooting for you.
Yeah.
We love you over here at Cinema Wave Media.
And
The
one
other
more shout out to Vanderpump Rules.
All right,
totally winning.
we'll go to
outstanding.
reality TV. We'll wrap up
Cut
with
her
reality
off.
TV.
Don't cut me off.
We're gonna go to reality TV and we're just gonna cut to Liz and we're gonna give her this category. So go ahead, Liz.
So, outstanding unstructured reality program. Indian matchmaking on Netflix. RuPaul's Drag Race on MTV. Selling Sunset Netflix. Vanderpump Rules Bravo. And Welcome to Wrexham FX, which I've actually never seen.
I have seen that. How
Stop!
funny is that? That's the only show on that
okay,
I've
what
watched.
did you like it?
Yes, I love it.
Wait, what's the premise? I've
All right,
actually
so
never even heard of
Rob McElhenney from
Yeah.
Always Sunny and
Okay.
Ryan Reynolds buy
it. It's
a
their
soccer team.
Yeah, okay.
Yes, it's fantastic.
Not
It's
as
really
good as
great, but I'm
Vanderpump.
sure it's not as good as Vanderpump.
And
Rules.
Vanderpump is taking it away. Everyone should watch it. Go binge. It's like 10 seasons long, 25 episodes per season, and it'll take you like 6 months.
Oh my
Go.
God.
I'll give you Vanderpump. I'll give you my bid for that.
I will root for it too, Liz, just for you. But we're gonna transition really quickly because as it stands right now, as we're recording, we're about 2 hours away from finding out whether or not we are going to be getting an actor strike
Yes.
in Hollywood. Very important and serious topic because some people will be out of jobs. And obviously, if you didn't already know this, the writer's strike has been happening in Hollywood for a few months now.
Mhm.
And things are getting to these very heated levels between SAG and the WGA about mistreatment, things with artificial intelligence, a bunch of different things. So, Liz, I want to start with you as someone who has been an actor for years. What are your thoughts on just the overall conversations that you've heard about and just the temperature in the room, so to speak, with this?
Yeah, I mean, looking at what I've read a few articles now about specifically what they are pushing back for and what they are requesting. And I mean, I think it's legitimate things. A few of the items that so actually going back and the end of June, like on the 28th, there was a letter that was kind of sent to the SAG-AFTRA leadership from the members. And it was like 300 plus actors that signed this letter. And it was pretty much saying that if their needs aren't met or if a deal is struck and it's only kind of a mediocre deal, that they are willing to strike. And so then that's what started all the news about like, oh, a strike could be coming because they let the leadership know that they're considering it. And so in the letter, they go on to talk about how they want a minimum pay met. They go on to talk about residuals, that they want it to be considered in the growth of streaming, because obviously that's a huge topic of how do you actually get paid residuals on streaming services.
Mhm.
There's not really, at least from my knowledge, a way for them to determine how many people are streaming.
A lot of the
Your show-
streamers are hiding numbers.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Versus how it used to be with residuals, they just get something paid each time. So that's a iffy topic on exactly how to fix that. But then other topics are healthcare, pensions, AI concerns, which that I find is a very interesting topic because there's concerns with specifically in voiceover work that casting companies and specifically like commercials will start using AI to be the voiceover rather than an actual actor and an actual person.
Mm-hmm.
So then that's also taking work away from these actors, that a lot of people, voiceover work is where they make their money on the side when they're auditioning or trying to look for their next big gig. So that's a big concern. And then something that I'm not really super, it's a little cloudy of what they're looking for, is they said regulations around how self-tapes are used in the casting process. So I don't know if that means they want more self-tape opportunities so that they don't have to go and travel for meetings and travel to audition in person, or they want less of self-tapes because obviously since the pandemic, self-tapes were huge and that was how a lot of people were auditioning. So I just don't really know what specifically they're looking for that specific item. But yeah, so that's what they're looking for, and it sounds like the SAG-AFTRA members are not looking for a quick deal or negotiation. They're looking for hardcore solutions to like these problems, and they don't want just one of them. Like, for example, I think they said they don't want just one of these topics to be handled. They want all of them to be addressed in their new negotiations. So I don't know this. I mean, I do think that it's going to go to strike. I don't know how long it will last though. I don't know if it'll be as long as the writers, but they could also be trying to team up, because I think at this point, the writers' strike is putting on such a hold on future projects too, that then some of the actors might be getting nervous that they might have work for like a year, but then in the year after that, there might not be future projects because everything's on hold writing wise.
Yeah. So this is something that's been a really crazy topic for a while now, because SAG-AFTRA entered negotiations with the producers on June 7th, and there was a 98% yes vote on striking.
Yeah.
So this goes all the way to the top of the food chain with some of the biggest actors you guys may know, to all the people that, again, they're actors in a different way, right? Like they're in commercials and they're doing, like you said, voiceover work, and you might not
to paycheck. Yep.
Exactly. You might not know them based on like watching a show like Wednesday on Netflix, but they're still actors and this is their job. And similar to the writers, now we're going to get into a situation very quickly where it's going to continue to go, right? Like it can very easily, again, they've been in negotiations for June 7th. They extended it to June 30th, and now it expires tonight at midnight if they don't come to an agreement, which it doesn't look like they're going to.
No.
So having said all that, I would agree with you. I think that a lot of the things that they're asking for are very fair. The aspect with the streaming numbers is something that I've kind of honed in on for the last couple of years, because I remember when the streamers started to have this shift, right? Like Netflix started being like, all right, we're also going to run as a production company and a studio, and we're going to have hundreds of movies every single year that goes against all the other studios like Universal and Disney and yada yada. Some actors have had deals in the past with certain studios that they get money back based on box office and things like that. Netflix, they have these deals, I believe, and some of these other streamers probably, where they front load a contract to give them a certain payment. But what if something does really well? Like you have to, I know one story in particular that I was reading about recently was like Squid Game, right? The creator of Squid Game, it's by far the most watched show that's ever come out, I think, on any streamer ever. And he just got his upfront fee, which, because he had never worked on anything nearly as popular, he wasn't making the money that Netflix was making based on the marketing opportunities and the merchandise and all these different things, right? And again, usually what you see, at least in terms of the actors, is if they get popular from one thing, they'll kind of go off. Going back to like Wednesday, like Jenna Ortega was a name that people were aware of. Now she's like one of the biggest stars on the planet. She's getting roles all the time.
Yep.
So I think that the streaming numbers are important. They should be disclosed to all the people that are signing on for these projects and seeing how popular and they might be able to build off of something. The AI has been a problem in every single field in Hollywood right now, especially the writers as well, because there's this worry about how you can just kind of push away writers in general because of artificial intelligence. With actors, I know some of the problems that they also face. It's like we've already seen little bits and pieces of this on certain shows and movies, where we're having this de-aging technology, which was one thing where it's like, oh, that's kind of cool, right? But now they're merging other things along with the de-aging, and it's like, is it mostly AI? Is it not AI at all? There's other aspects like being able to, like, there's some aspects where you could see AI maybe potentially helping, like looping, right? Like not bringing in actors to loop again, but maybe some of them enjoy that process and they don't want an artificial intelligence that sounds like them doing their ADR, right? So I think it's a very interesting situation, as most strikes usually get to an interesting situation, right? You have two different groups that completely disagree with a lot of what is being done. I definitely think they're going to strike. I'm like you. I don't know how long it will last. I do think that they're very much in solidarity with the writers because we've seen a lot of actors on the picket lines for the last few months. I was just reading before Jessica Williams, who got nominated for Shrinking, her first Emmy. She was celebrating by going on the picket lines.
Yep.
So you're seeing a lot of that. And I think the interesting part about this is we're going to be in a very interesting scenario because Hollywood and just film and television in general right now have gone through so many different periods in the last few years, especially where you had COVID, right? Where they were front loaded and they weren't too worried about it. And they started sending certain films to streaming. And that might have expedited the process of why we're currently in a situation where not only are movie theaters like so expensive now to go, as much as we love movies, like we'll pay whatever, but we're not the everyday man and woman trying to take their family out to see a movie. You have that, plus you have all these, especially this current summer, there's a lot of box office bombs. Indiana Jones, the last Indiana Jones movie with Harrison Ford is not going to make its money back.
No.
Which is kind of crazy to think about. You have The Flash, which was again, a character that people were hyping up the movie. James Gunn came out and said it's one of the best comic book movies of all time. Didn't do well at the box office. So you have these situations too where I think that the actors should be doing what they're doing, but we're going to get to a point where, especially as movie fans, the industry is going to alter a lot.
Yeah.
And it's like, are we going to have like 4 movies a month coming soon? Like, is it going to be something like that? Are the streamers going to be able to have less volume now? And is that actually going to improve the product and some of the films we've been watching and things like that? I would hope that that's the outcome, but I'm not too sure on that.
No. I mean, it's also an interesting thing because which I do think the strike's happening. So like when the strike happens, it puts a halt on all promotion too. So like Barbie right now, the Barbie movie is on this huge promo marketing campaign of like having Margot Robbie out there all the time. All these press pictures are happening. That would come to a halt because she can't promote anymore. And so like I know they can't go to like Comic-Con and all that stuff too. So that's huge because that's where a lot of these actors make their money is in the marketing and promotion of things too. They can't do commercials. They can't do side gigs to make money. That's why a lot of these celebrities and actors on times like this, they go and try to make their own company because they're like, I need to make money, but I also want to support the guild and like make sure that we're getting the right thing, but I also have to support myself at the end of the day. Something that I actually read that I think is really interesting is that the last time that SAG and the Writers Guild striked at the same time was in 1960, and it was because they were striking about residuals for movies that were going to be on television.
Interesting.
Yes.
So it's kind of similar to
so
streaming.
it's very similar. I mean, they should be able to come to an agreement. I think that they do need to get smarter with how are you going to pay people that are making these incredible shows versus the ones that aren't doing so well on streaming. And at the end of the day, streaming is just a numbers game, so they should be able to show those numbers to people.
I think that the other part, like you just talked about too, with the promotion of materials, like think about if this does continue to go on until November, December into 2024, what happens when the Academy Awards come around? Like you can't promote any of these films. So start again. And like you said, Barbie's on this massive marketing tour right now, and they're probably smart for doing it earlier than they are because their film comes out next week. As does Oppenheimer, which I feel like is not doing. They're doing a little bit of press. I've been seeing Cillian Murphy and stuff, and maybe Matt Damon, but I haven't seen much else with them. All these films that are going to come out for the remainder of the summer for the fall, like the fall season and things like that. Like again, like some of these things don't get driven in the engagement of casual movie fans because they're unaware of it. Like the Everything Everywhere All at Once. Now that's a film that came out, excuse me, earlier in the year last year. But let's say a film like that was coming out later this year. There very easily could be a film like that comes out later this year that a lot of people may not know about. A lot of people may never be aware of, and we don't have a situation with the Daniels, right? That could easily happen. And again, I think that the writers and the actors feel strongly about what they're doing because they should be fairly compensated for the work that they do. But we're talking about a situation now where the longer this goes on, it's going to hurt everybody.
Yep.
And I think the unfortunate thing is that the producers basically play this game with the writers and the actors where they're like, we will hold off as long as we possibly can, and then we'll give you not everything you want, but we'll bend and we'll give you, I don't know, like maybe 50% of what you want, 40% of what you want, in some cases, rarely 60 to 65% of what you want. But that's where I think it comes down to a certain point, right? Like, how long are they willing to let this happen?
Mhm.
There are things that are in the bank. When we finally returned from COVID, a lot of things went into production.
Yep.
There's a lot of streaming services now. There are a lot of companies that are merging. I mean, Disney bought 20th Century Fox over the last few years, right? There's all these talks about Stars and Lionsgate departing, and we can see Showtime is now with Paramount.
Yep.
So that aspect of it is also very interesting. It's like, how long is this going to keep going before we see a situation where everybody loses? I think that the producers really need to sit down and they need to realize that they're not really anything without the actors or the writers.
Yeah.
And I think that they're going to have to come to a point where they come to an agreement. But Zach, what are your thoughts on not only the actors strike that we're waiting on, but the writers strike that's been going on for the last few months?
I think it's going to be really interesting too, because like you were saying, the producers do like to hold out in these situations, and for the writers to there was that one article that they talked about, we're going to start to, whoever the quote was from, it was really outlandish and super uncalled for, but they were like saying that we can, outlast the writers until we bleed them broke and that type
until
of
they start
situation.
losing their homes.
Yeah. So that's unbelievable. But it is a reality because the writers obviously can't perform financially the same way the studios can, because they're working project to project and they're trying to figure something out in that way. And then it's also really interesting too, because I don't know if you guys were familiar with the IATSE strike that almost happened a year ago, or almost 2 years ago now.
No, I'm actually not.
Yeah, so IATSE is basically a lot of the technicians and below the line workers. So a lot of grips, electric, set dressers, set decorators, a lot of people that work specifically on set, not particularly camera people, but pretty much everyone else that's under that umbrella. But basically their president went through a similar situation, and there was letters sent out to all the workers. Everyone was saying the same things. We're standing in solidarity. A lot of people were behind it. Like, there was actually a few pages on Instagram and Facebook of workers that I was following too, just to keep like a direct line update on it. And people were all gathering, commenting. Everybody was in it, trying to stand in solidarity. It looked like it was about to happen. The president went to the table with the producers, and then at the 11th hour, he folded and he took a lesser deal. So it was like really interesting and then, all these other workers are like, what are you doing? We had the votes. Like, they were also ready to strike. They had a very favorable number of people ready to strike, and it didn't happen. So they were saying, okay, the president folded a little bit and didn't really support us the same way that we wanted to. And there wasn't a strike at that point. So now it's kind of funny because it's coming back to bite them, because now the writers and SAG are about to strike and they might get what they want, and they should have done that before. So I think SAG will probably strike tonight or tomorrow, whenever that is. But because I feel like there is a big momentum buildup, although there was one before with the IATSE strike, I think that SAG has come out in solidarity with the writers, especially, and then they have these own separate demands.
Exactly.
So I think it also has to happen to improve the industry. But yeah, it will put a bleeding hole into the industry for probably at least 6 to 8 months, whether it stops soon by the end of the year or it goes into next year, like it's still going to have a rippling effect because they're going to lose so much time. And if you lose your actors, you can't make the movies.
No.
Obviously, yeah.
I think that it is. Have you noticed though that this week there's been a lot more trailers released because I think they're trying to just put out what they have before they're completely cut off from promoting it.
The other thing I noticed is, especially the last few days, and this is just like on the comic book fair, but like they just casted 4 new cast members for Superman Legacy, which doesn't go into production. The film releases in 2025, so it wasn't supposed to go into production until January of 2024, if it even reaches that anyway. But even those things, like, they have to stop all negotiation.
Yeah.
Everything. So even these actors are now probably like, we still might see some casting announcements in the next few days trickling out that might have happened today or a couple days ago, and we're finally learning about them through Deadline, Hollywood Reporter, Variety, whatever. But those are gonna cease, like all of these things. So even again, like you're talking, like you said, any promotion, like late night TV is also not even happening right now because
it's
of the
all
writers.
on hold.
So you have podcasts, like, but even there, like, you might start to see. Like, one of my favorite podcasts is Smartless, which is hosted by Jason Bateman, Sean Hayes, Will Arnett, all actors, some writers, right, and directors. They might continue to get more people on, but they're not going to be promoting their films, and they're not going to be promoting their television series or their streaming series. So I think that's the interesting thing of it. The one other thing I wanted to ask you, Liz and Zach, was, do you think, I think we all are in agreement that actors and writers are in solidarity with one another, at least to a certain extent, right? And their unions. Do you guys think that they're going to be able to, when they do eventually, hopefully, reach their own respective deals, do you think that it's going to be happening one after the other? You think it's going to be happening one sooner than the other? Where do you guys stand with that?
I think SAG will solidify it sooner than writers will. Only because the Writers Guild, I think, only has, I think it's like 11,000 members, while SAG has like 130,000. I could be wrong on those numbers, but like I think it's around there. So SAG has much higher numbers to lose versus writers. It's a much smaller group. Also, I'm pretty sure that the Directors Guild had recently renegotiated maybe last year, and it was almost the same concerns as SAG, where it was like AI was discussed, healthcare, pension, and I think they were able to come to like an agreement and like terms. So I think SAG is like, well, if Directors Guild could, like, we need this too. And then I think it'll then trickle down to, okay, well, if SAG got it, then Writers Guild can get it. Gotcha. But I don't think it'll happen at the same time.
Okay.
Zach?
Yeah, I don't think that it's going to happen at the same time. I do think SAG will probably happen first, solely for their influence and the fact that they do need the actor. I mean, it's selfish, but they do need the actors over the writers in most instances, at least the productions that have been still going. But I mean, even the productions are closing off now. Like, there's only like 2 or 3 productions on the East Coast still running right now with the writer's strike. The writers, like, everything that was written on set, they had to work with. They couldn't do any rewrites, so they could shoot whatever they had written, but they couldn't have writers on set, and they couldn't have any rewrites. But I think, I mean, it would be such a backhand though to the writers as well to like get the SAG done, like close that off quick, and then the writers, because they might also figure that a lot of, well, not honestly, SAG has more people in it, so I won't even say that a lot of people are financially better, because I think there was like a stat that was like the 1% or like 5% of SAG is like financially like okay or in that top tier class. But yeah, it's just going to create a slew of problems for the industry, and I do think that they will reach their own deals at different times. So yeah,
I think that the other interesting thing is that the writers have been on strike since, I believe, early May. I think it was May 2nd might have been the day that they started striking. And there were some people that were shutting down productions for the respect. Some did it for a week, some did it for a couple weeks, some did it for a month, some never went back. But there were a lot of productions that continued on. So I do think that's one thing to worry about, because again, I do think I agree with both of you guys. I think SAG will probably settle sooner. I do think it'll take some time. I think there's a chance, like, if they start striking tonight, we might not hear anything is done until like September, October. Could maybe get till the end of the year, possibly. I don't think it will, but there's a chance. The other concern is, like, you think about all these projects that are in development.
Yeah.
Right? Think about how many things you've read about or you've heard about. I mean, things that I've written about on Cinema Wave's website for years that have not come to fruition, right? They have all these scripts that have never been made, that they just never touched again, or they wanted rewrites, whatever. They can't do the rewrite part of it, obviously, but if there's a script that something didn't work out for whatever reason, and things like that happen all the time. But I could see where SAG eventually makes a deal come October. They go back into production late October, and they start some of these projects that were in development. The scripts are already done,
which pushes then the writers strike still, because they won't bring them back on. Yeah.
So I can definitely see that also being an issue, because that they have all these scripts that are bought and they're banked, and they have IP and a bunch of different things. I mean, there's a lot of things to talk about. It's a lot of. Is there any other things you guys wanted to say to wrap it up?
No, I mean, I think it's also an interesting topic for like young actors and writers who are just trying to get their foot in the door. The pressure of, like, maybe they aren't SAG yet, but they're trying to be. And it's like, do they keep working, or do they stand in line with the people that they eventually want to be in the same guild with and not work to try to, like, support them? Or do they keep trying to do smaller independent films on their own just to keep working, just so that they can build their resumes? So I think that's always an interesting topic too, because you have to, technically it's just SAG members, but it's like, do then all actors kind of take a stance, even if you're not in SAG and you're young and, like, having just graduated or something like that?
Yeah. Zach, anything?
Yeah, I was just gonna say, I hope that they reach their agreements sooner than later. But I'm pulling for them to have as much as they can in those deals, and just hope that they come out on top, because they are definitely overworked and not compensated correctly, in both guilds and unions. So yeah, I just hope that everything smooths over pretty soon, but I'm not overly optimistic it will be any time in the near future. I think it's going to be a little bit of time before that happens and the dust settles.
Yeah,
so.
For sure. Well, I want to just speak for all of us, saying that we stand with all the people that we want fairness and equality in this business, and the business that we love. We love talking to you guys about. We're still movies and TV shows to talk about, so we'll do that in the meantime. But again, we do stand with everyone just having an equal and fair opportunity to get equally compensated for the work that they're doing in Hollywood and in film and television at every level. So I thought that was fun. We had a good conversation today. We talked about a lot of things. We have a lot of content coming out for you guys. We have this episode. We got a lot of big things coming out soon. Barbie and Oppenheimer are coming out, which some of the biggest movies of the summer. A lot of shows coming to streaming. So just be on the lookout on Instagram, on Threads, and on our YouTube channel, as well as TikTok, to see all the stuff we have coming for you. So signing off, I am Darian Scalamoni.
I am Liz Seiko.
And I'm Zach Miller.
Oh my gosh.
It's been a great time. Thanks for tuning into our podcast.
Thank you guys, and we'll see you again soon.